For many working families, childcare is a fact of life. So we're going to explore all of the options to show you what's most affordable.
We'll also reveal if shopping with a reward credit card pays off or if it ends up costing you more in the long run.
And the 5 of us are out and about finding money-saving ways on how to entertain kids for under $10.
Plus, trends change, but your clothing should last.
We're going on a crusade to show you what to do when a recently bought item starts falling apart.
When you pay good money for clothes or shoes, you expect them to last and not fall apart shortly after you buy them.
Okay, Rob, look at these boots. I bought them less than a month ago, and the leather is already coming off of them.
It is, it's totally peeled.
Okay, so mission is to see what we can do with the boots.
Sounds good.
All right.
Mission's on.
Many of us would just throw the item in the back of our closets and chalk it up as a bad purchase. But shouldn't the stores be held accountable for the quality of the items they sell? We're on a crusade to find out. Sandra and Robin have 3 defective items and are on their way to meet with a contract lawyer to see what their rights are.
So we have a pair of boots, and the leather's already come off the heel. We have a jacket where the belt buckle has completely snapped, and a pair of pants where they've completely ripped.
Those were Sandra's.
They were mine, but I swear I brought the right size. So the point is we paid good money, and we want to know what can we do as consumers.
Unless there's a formal return policy, stores aren't obligated to take back products and return your money. Generally speaking, if you take a product home and you start using it, your right to return it for your money back is going to be limited.
But that doesn't mean impossible, so Sandra and Robin will try to return their damaged goods. Is there recourse outside of the return policy? Find out as our crusade continues later in the show. But first, the cost of childcare is one of the biggest expenses for parents, and finding the right fit for your family is a major decision. Rob and Melanie are new parents of baby Kaylee.
When Kaylee smiles, it's the most magic thing in the world. When she just looks in our eyes and her face breaks into a smile, there's nothing like it.
Melanie plans to go back to work in a few months, so Angela and Katie will help them explore their childcare options and find a solution that will fit their budget.
What will you plan to do when you go back to work?
If we can afford it, I'm going to go part-time, but we do need some daycare for the rest of the time.
They have a choice to make: in-home care with a nanny or outside the home in daycare.
And in best case scenario, where would little Kaylee end up?
Group daycare, because they have ECEs, early childhood educators.
Daycare is usually the most desired choice because kids are around other kids and it's less expensive than a nanny, but many have extremely long wait lists.
It is very daunting to find time to research places and go visit them and get on these waiting lists. It's a big challenge.
But group daycare and nannies aren't the only options. Katie is taking them to a child care expert for more info on the types of daycare. Licensed group care is highly regulated and usually run in a classroom-like setting by early childhood educators. Licensed family care is also regulated but takes place in someone's home, often run by a mom and not necessarily a trained childhood educator. And the third option is license not required. It's not regulated, but the owner is registered and is limited to taking only 2 children other than their own into their home.
When you have licensed childcare provided by qualified early childhood educators, it costs a lot. So for a darling little baby like this, you can expect to be paying at least $1,000 a month for full-time care.
Why does childcare cost more at an early age?
Because we need more caregivers to look after babies. We have 1 caregiver for every 4 babies, whereas we would have 1 caregiver for 8 preschoolers.
We've heard that some part-time daycare, they'll charge full-time rates.
For a child care provider, in order to stay financially viable, we have to make sure that all the spaces are full. And sometimes that means that if there's no other family to match the other days of the week that you don't want, that you have to pay for the whole week.
Other factors to keep in mind are food costs, so you may want to ask if you can pack a lunch for your child, gas to get there and back, and late charges.
And what does happen if you're running late, you pass the time when you're supposed to pick up your child? What sort of fee is associated with that?
Often it's $1 a minute.
Wow.
You also need to budget for alternative care or your lost wages for your child's sick days, as most daycares have a policy about keeping sick kids at home. One way to not have that worry is to choose in-home care with a nanny. They can provide more flexible hours and also do some household chores.
In the research that we found, nannies, especially live-in nannies, started at around $1,200 and went up from there.
You can save if they live with you because you can deduct a nanny's living expenses from your taxes. If you work part-time, you can even look at sharing a nanny.
We've been talking to several neighbors on the street about that possibility. It's a matter of coordinating it.
Another type of nanny is an au pair, which is a young person from overseas who will live with you rent-free and take care of your children. You don't pay them, but you have to cover expenses.
Maybe au pairs are better for an older child.
I just can't see putting our little baby in the hands of an au pair because I don't think their primary focus is to come here and be a childcare provider. That's hard work.
To compare the costs, a nanny would be about $1,200 per month, licensed group care about $1,000, licensed family daycare starts at $700, and license not required about $600, and expenses for an au pair would be about $500.
What are your thoughts now on where you'd ideally like to go?
To get into a licensed daycare facility like this is almost impossible. I don't think there's any way we could afford a live-in nanny just for Kaylee. Frankly, we're gonna have to go a lot by what we see and our instinct about the place and the cleanliness and the caring that we see, and then a little bit of money either way isn't going to make the difference.
I'm focusing the search now on licensed family daycare, the ones at home.
And I think something right in our neighborhood is appealing, and there should be quite a few family daycares in our neighborhood that we can visit. And really, in the end, you have to visit and decide from there.
Yeah.
One of the most important decisions that expecting parents will make is trying to decide if one parent can afford to stay home. Now, while finances might not be your deciding factor, they are definitely important to consider.
Deciding to stay home isn't just about losing your salary. You'll also have to factor in the loss of full benefits such as healthcare, which you'll end up paying for yourself.
To get a feel for what it's going to be like, start living off of the lower salary before baby arrives. That will give you a realistic expectation of the money you'll need should you decide to stay home.
If you do decide to go back to work, you'll get your full salary and benefits, but you will have to deduct the cost of commuting and daycare.
Thank you so much.
Coming up, we have money-saving tips for family outings, as the 5 of us challenge each other to entertain a child for an afternoon for under $10. And if you have a credit card that earns you points, find out who's really being rewarded, you or the credit card company. And our cookie crusade continues. We'll find out if you can return a defective clothing purchase or if you'll be stuck holding the bag. Plus, do you know the danger of buying a lottery ticket with your credit card? Find out what you should never do when we come back. What is the danger of buying a lottery ticket with your credit card? A lottery ticket, just like betting or buying chips at a casino, is considered gaming, so you'll be charged the higher cash advance interest rate on your credit card. Sandra and Robin are on a crusade to get compensation for clothing that fell apart not long after it was purchased, so they're talking to a lawyer.
The first thing I would do is review the store's return policy and any warranty that might have come with the product. If the product doesn't match the description, you just didn't get what you bargained for. Or if the product's defective right out of the box, there may be some room to just return the product.
Knowing the return policy of a store is crucial because stores are not required by law to take goods back for any reason, but some may for the sake of good business. And some areas of the country have consumer protection laws that cover what we should be able to expect of a product.
What they do is impose what are called implied warranties on products. That is to say that products have to be of acceptable quality, reasonably durable, and fit for their normal use.
So with that in mind, Sandra and Robin are going to try and get a pair of boots that they feel fell apart much too soon, repaired or replaced, even though they're past the store's deadline for returns.
I bought these boots at the end of September, but the leather's coming off on the back here.
Just on the
Just on the one side.
We usually try to repair it. If we can't repair it, you would exchange it for a different style that you like, or the same style if you think you can maintain the backing of that?
Yeah, we can
or
find it.
Do you have your receipt with you?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you so much for your help.
That was certainly worth a try. Who would have thought? The store offered to fix the boots for free, even though it's way past the return date. Later, we'll see what happens when we try to return a coat with a broken belt and no receipt, and a pair of ripped pants purchased months ago. Over 80 million people use a credit card that earns them points towards anything from travel to merchandise to cash. The rewards sound free, but are they really? Single mom Connie jumped at the chance to get a rewards credit card, thinking it would help her pay for a trip to Disneyland for her 6-year-old daughter Jessica.
My mom is gonna give me a ticket for Disneyland.
I decided to get the rewards credit card because I knew I was going to be spending a lot. It was in my plan to buy quite a few things that I needed, and the bank teller was just going on and on and on about how great this card was because she could travel and she takes trips and this and that, and I thought, well, yeah, I'd like to do that too.
We'll help Connie find out just how much that trip could end up costing her.
Do you know how much you put through on your credit card last year?
$33,000.
So you actually put more on your credit card than you made in a year.
Scary thought.
Credit card companies are happy to offer reward programs to get you to sign up for their card, especially if it means you'll be tempted to spend more. But reward cards usually have annual fees and the highest interest rates.
What is the interest rate on your credit card?
19%.
Does that seem high to you?
That's crazy.
It's high, isn't it?
Very high.
Connie's average credit card balance throughout the year is $2,500. At 19%, she pays about $475 in interest each year. But that's not all she pays. Her credit card also has an annual fee of $100.
It seems like a good idea to take these rewards that you are earning and put them towards a trip that you want to take, so your trip to Disneyland. But do you know how many reward points you'd actually need to get there?
Connie's card gives her a flight point for every dollar spent. She'd need 75,000 points for her 2 tickets to Disneyland, so that means she'd have to spend $75,000.
Do you have $75,000 to spend?
At her current spending rate, it would take Connie 2 years to earn enough points.
Yikes.
And during that time, she'd also pay $200 in annual fees and $950 in interest, for a total of $1,150. And guess what? That's more than the cost of 2 tickets to Disneyland she could just pay for.
Do you think you'll renew your points card?
I don't think so, no, because it kind of tempts you to want to spend on your card to get those points, but really, those points really don't add up to enough.
In Connie's case, she should skip the rewards and get a low-interest credit card instead.
Low interest, baby.
Yes, exactly. Well, I don't think I'm going to renew again because I realize now that it takes an awful lot of spending to get a small amount of points.
In some cases, reward credit cards can be a huge bonus, but you should only get one if you always pay your balance in full, and the rewards you earn each year are always worth more than your annual fee.
Some credit cards that offer cashback rewards operate on a tiered system, which means you have to spend a certain amount before you're eligible for your rewards. For example, you may have to spend $6,000 before you can get your 5% cash rebate.
Some programs may limit the type of purchases and stores that count, such as groceries from a regular grocery store as opposed to a big box store.
If your purchases don't meet these requirements, you may only be earning 1% or less. So if you're carrying a balance on your credit card, it's definitely not worth it. But if you do pay off your balance each month, you can come out ahead.
Up next, all 5 cookies take trips of our own when we challenge each other to entertain a 5-year-old for under $10.
That's cool.
And our crusade continues as we push the limits of return policies and try to return damaged clothing. Can we actually get our money back? And how can you save money on your monthly credit card bills? Find out after the break. How can you save money on your monthly credit card bills? If you can't pay the full balance, pay what you can before the due date. That way your monthly interest will be calculated on the lower amount. Sandra and Robin are on a crusade to find out if stores will stand behind clothing that expires before it seems reasonable. So far, one store did. They agreed to repair a pair of boots for free. Now we'll try again. Robin bought a coat for $160 and wore it a few times, and then the belt broke. But she doesn't have the receipt and it's past the return policy.
I bought this jacket a couple months ago.
Okay.
but the buckle has broken.
What's your policy typically for defective merchandise?
Send it back to the manufacturer, or what we'll do is we'll fix the buckle for you. Or if we have this jacket still in stock here or at another store, we can just give you a new jacket.
Okay.
Hang on to the receipt for bigger ticket items even after you've started wearing them. But the next time you're asked if you want to be in the store system, say yes, then you'll have backup.
So I've just pulled up your name, you're all in here, everything's good to go. So we will send the code out to get fixed.
Okay, wonderful.
Another success, but Sandra and Robin aren't done yet. Sandra's expensive pants tore after only a few wears, but the thing is, she bought them many months ago. So far they've had 2 repairs, but since this item is irreparable, will they be able to get a refund?
I purchased these pants. Small problem.
It's a big
Had
problem.
a small...
Well, you've had these a little while.
Yep.
This is a great pant. We've not had a lot of problems with this at all. Usually what we do, it's 28 days on full price merchandise. It's 14 days on sale.
Okay.
You did buy these on sale. You've worn it very little from what I can see. So I would like to refund you for this pant.
Returns like this are more likely when you pay for quality. It's not going to be as common when you buy something that isn't expected to last long.
It's just not stood up to your expectations, nor has it stood up to our expectations.
Okay.
All 3 stores were surprisingly accommodating. It may not work every time, but bottom line, if you end up with an item you consider faulty, don't just toss it aside. You're entitled to get what you paid for. Still to come, All of Us Cookies take a child out for an afternoon, showing you 5 smart ways to save money on family outings. Plus, what is the #1 mistake to avoid making with your credit cards? Find out when we come back. What is the #1 mistake to avoid with your credit cards? Canceling a card once you've paid it off, or having it canceled by the credit card company for inactivity can hurt your credit score. Unless you're at risk of racking them up again, it's better to keep your cards open and make a small purchase every 6 months. Continually finding creative ways to keep a child entertained, especially on a rainy day, can be a challenge, so the 5 of us are challenging each other to take a 5-year-old out for the afternoon, plus buy them a snack for under $10.
Okay, let's go, girls. Have fun.
Angela and Abraham will live every little boy's dream. Andrea plans to take Natasha for a ride. Sandra and Carly will head for the water. Katie is going for outdoor adventure with Dylan and his big brother. And Robin will take Jackson to volunteer for a good cause. Kids, of course, love animals, and at an animal shelter, they can get some puppy love and do a good deed by volunteering to walk a dog.
Smart Cookies encourage volunteerism. It's a great way to expose your kids to new people and new environments, and it's free.
But check first, there may be a short training course you and your child need to take in advance. If you're thinking of getting a pet, this is a great way to start teaching your child about the responsibilities. And kids can also interact with animals on a nature walk and learn the important rules in life, like cute doesn't always mean cuddly.
Okay. A great way to teach your kids about nature is to check out your local ecology society. Many offer guided walks and local events all for free. It's a simple and affordable way to teach your kids about local wildlife. So what do you guys think of the park?
Fun. Carly, have you ever been on the ferry before?
No.
No?
You'd be surprised how many kids love doing the things we take for granted, like riding on anything, be it a city bus or a ferry.
Family outings are a great opportunity to teach children about money management. So next time you're out and about, give the money to your child to pay. It's a great chance for them to learn money management and responsibility.
Hey, that's $4, sweetheart. There you go. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Look out the window and see if you can see your mom and give her a wave. Thank you so much. Whoa, look at that.
All aboard!
When looking for things to do, it's easy to forget about the tourist destinations in our own backyards. Check out your city's tourism website for ideas, like this railway tour of a local park.
This is fun.
This is fun. Let's go through here.
And when it comes to treating your child, there's no need to deprive yourself.
Kids treats aren't just for kids. If you want to cut your costs and your calories, try ordering a child size instead of a regular. Okay, let's go.
Wow, look at that fire truck.
And your community heroes love to help educate kids. Fire, police, and ambulance all put on various events throughout the year, so watch for them in your local paper.
Free tours like this aren't just reserved for school trips.
Oftentimes you can book a personal tour just by calling ahead and arranging for one.
A real firefighter.
And there's your helmet.
That's cool.
You ready to go?
Whoa! Good job, eh? I've got one more surprise. Delicious ice cream to top off the day. All right? Okay, girls.
Now we'll see which smart cookie managed to spend the least and who blew the $10 budget for an outing and a treat. Sandra's Aquabus ride and fruit kebab for herself and Carly cost $11.16. Andrea and Natasha's train ride and hot chocolate cost $10.25. Robin and Jackson's dog walking was free, but the smoothie treat was $4.15. Angela's tour of the fire hall was also free, but the gelato she bought Abraham cost $4. Katie's nature walk was free too, and buying a bag of popcorn that actually treated 2 kids was just $2.25. Bottom line, if you're resourceful, a fantastic day out can be very inexpensive or even free if you bring your own treat.
All in all, a success.
I think so.
And nobody lost their 5-year-old?
No.
No. Okay, good.